It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus, is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, compassion, all right here. BTI, your John Deere dealer with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. Eagle Radio, Hull Broadcasting, and HayesPost.com, keeping our community connected. And The Taco Shop. Order by phone or use the Taco Shop app. Dine in, pick up, or delivery. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Now, Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And a good afternoon, and welcome to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State University campus. Good to have you with us here today as we get close to wrapping up a lot of the winter sports. We're going to have head men's basketball coach Mark Johnson with us in the first couple of segments, and Tigers will hit the road, head to Kansas City for the MIAA tournament, which actually is just getting underway. The first round games, the men playing this afternoon, the women will play tonight. Tiger men and women, both the two seeds. They'll find out after today who they play in the quarterfinals tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night for the men and the women. We'll have more on that as we move along here on the program. We're going to talk some indoor track and field. Jason McCullough will join us. Tigers have 3 qualified for the national meet. We'll talk about that and also look back at this past weekend's MIAA championships. And we'll talk some men's wrestling. Eric Wentz will be joining us for the last portion of the program. Tiger men gearing up for the national meet as well, and we'll talk about that and more. You can certainly participate. Send us a question, a chance to win a T-shirt from Fort Hays State Athletics. Go to FHSU Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Click on fans. You'll see the drop-down menu, and there you will get the prompt to ask the coach. And if we use your question, you'll be registered to get that T-shirt, or at least if we use your question, to get a T-shirt from Fort Hays State Athletics. Want to update you on a couple of things. Women's wrestling gearing up for the NCWWC Championships. That'll be held in Iowa, Coralville, Iowa. They were just up there for their regionals, and Fort Hays State with 9 qualified for that. You can follow all of the action, which will be taking place this weekend. Go to the FHSU Athletics website. You'll see all the links if you want to watch the live streams. Baseball, they're altering their schedule slightly because of the colder temperatures, hosting number 25 Missouri Southern this weekend. It was scheduled for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's now going to be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and then 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon. It's the middle of a series of 3 straight home series. Tigers sweeping Missouri Western this past weekend. They are off to a 6-0 conference start, 11-4 overall, and have won 7 in a row going into the weekend series this weekend. Of course, we'll talk more about the indoor track and field, the MIAA championships, men's wrestling, and more as the program moves along. Tiger Talk is presented by the Kansas Department of Transportation and the Drive to Zero Coalition, who invite you to join fans of the plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk some men's basketball with Coach Mark Johnson. This is Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
He bobbles into the 10-5, touchdown.
It's to the edge, and Hayes High's going to win this football game. Johnny Rigler is on the spot.
Fire up the 3, and they can hold us and swirls.
Launches a 3, bang, nothing but net.
It's dropped in left field, and we are tied as 5 touchdowns.
He didn't get that. Hayes High wins in overtime.
Hate to shoot. Hammocky drive. Gets down low to the low block. Can't shoot it. Over to Grill. He has to launch a 3, and it goes in. Kyle Grill's hit both the Fort Hays State's 3s, and the Tigers are on top 12-8. Fort Hays State on a 7-0 run. That was some of the action from last Wednesday, the final home game of the season for the Tigers as they took on the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. We're going to talk with men's coach Mark Johnson here in just a second. Before we do that, though, I want to give the All-MIAA team that came out yesterday, and the women have 5 all-conference picks. Katie DeGarmo is the player of the year, second year in a row that Katie's been named the conference player of the year. First time in the MIAA they've had back-to-back winners since 02 and 03. Olivia Hollenbeck, the defensive player of the year on the women's side. They were both named first team All-MIAA. Kate Dilsaver named to the all-defensive team. She was an honorable mention pick. Brooke Levy and Telexa Weeder were also honorable mention picks for the women on the all-conference team. And then for the Tiger men, Caleb Hammocky named first team for a third consecutive year. Kyle Grill was named honorable mention All-MIAA, and Sean Riley was named to the all-defensive team. They'll honor all the first-team picks before their respective games in Kansas City, so the 2 Tiger ladies will be honored before the game tomorrow night, and Caleb Hammocky will be honored before the Tigers take the floor tomorrow afternoon. Tiger Talk brought to you today by the Taco Shop. Order by phone, use the Taco Shop app, dine in, carry out, or delivery. The Taco Shop, you've never had it so good. Joined now by men's basketball coach Mark Johnson. Fort Hays State beat Nebraska Kearney at home on Wednesday and then turned right back around, played them at their place on Saturday. You don't see that very often. It's happened a few times, but not often. And you could kind of tell. I think Kearney had a little more, ambition, whatever. They were ready to go on Saturday, and it's just difficult to turn right back around short time and play that same team, especially after beating them on the home floor. So kind of a mixed review of results last week for your guys.
Yeah, I thought our game Wednesday at home, we played really well, arguably one of our best games of the year. We made 10 threes. I think Caleb continued his hot streak, had a lot of points, maybe around 27 or something, and then I don't think Kyle missed a shot. He was 4-4 from 3 and hit all of his free throws, and we just played really, really well. Went up there, and again, I agree. I think that extra whatever just got beat by a team gives you that little extra. I think a big key to the game was their big guy was sick and didn't play, and they were able to go small ball and had a shooting 5-man. And we really have been fortunate this year. We haven't played very many teams that have a 5-man that shoots threes, because that's when they really spread you out and make it difficult on you. And we didn't handle it as well as we would have liked to. And I thought they played exceptional. The Taylor kid was fantastic. The Thompson kid, they moved him down to the 5 at times and made it hard on us. And really, it was 4 minutes. I don't remember us something changing so quickly. We had a 7-point lead with 18 minutes to go in the game and doing what we do. I mean, just kind of a grinded out kind of game. And then 4 minutes later at the 14-minute mark, we're down 11. There's a lot of sequence things, flagrant foul, 5-point possession. There's just a lot of things that happened there. But that was really the game. Was 4 minutes impacted the game, and we just can't. We don't score it enough to be able to fall down 18-0 in a 4-minute stretch and expect to win the game. But to their credit, I thought they played extremely well. They're a talented team. I think they're one of the more talented teams in our conference.
No doubt about that. They certainly showed that on Saturday. You mentioned the Wednesday game. Caleb was, had another special night, 27, and you hit 10 threes, and you're not going to always do that, but when you can hit them at a decent rate, and we've talked about it a lot, it just changes everything. You shot the ball so well that night, and things just go easier when you're able to put it through the basket.
Yeah, and especially for us, we don't get a lot of easy baskets. We don't really this year have a true throw it down on the block, back to the basket player. Outside of Caleb, we really don't drive it very well. So, I mean, a lot of it is predicated off us being able to hit some perimeter shots. And when we do that, for the most part, our guys are going to guard really well. They're going to take care of the basketball, and they're going to do the other things to win. So when they score some points, they're a difficult group to beat. We just, again, we go up there, you can't, what's worse, the 18 we gave up in 4 minutes or the 0 we scored? That was a tough deal, but but yeah, when we play, like I said, I thought Wednesday was one of our better games.
And Dan McCuna gave you some big minutes Wednesday. He scored 10, he had 5 boards, played 21 minutes, shot the ball at a high rate. He's kind of been up and down, but it seems like he's getting a little bit more comfortable and just figuring things out the way you want him to play.
Yeah, he's only a sophomore. It's only his first year in the program. We need him to make that. He needs to make a jump for next year. That would be a big key to our success next year as Kyle continue to grow and expand his his game and get better. And then I would say Dan needs to make a big jump. I think he's capable. Again, this is a whole new world for him as far as toughness, competitiveness, fight, and all that, and he's really working hard at it, and his size is good, and all that. So we're excited about his future.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And those are traits. I mean, some people just have it. That's just how they play the game. Others, I mean, it's a process. You just don't. Hey, you need to play more physical. You need to be tougher, and you go out the next game, and that happens. It's a process.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming from Germany. It's a little bit European basketball at times, as compared to the college game, is more finesse than physicality and all that, and that's an adjustment for him. And I thought he's really gotten a lot better from the beginning of the year, and like I said, he's got 2 more years, and it's his first year in the program. So I think we have a lot of guys that I feel like are better than they've played this year, and sometimes it's you got to go through the pains to get to the successes.
Going through pains, R.J. Crawford's been doing that all year, but I thought Wednesday gave you some good minutes. He didn't shoot the 3 ball well, but did a lot of other things. Was out there for 28 minutes or 22 minutes, and just what he brings you defensively when he's out there, when he has the shots go, that's always great. But he's just really kind of gutting it up here this last month of the season.
Yeah, been disappointing season for him as far as the injuries and his performance. Just fight. It's just a painful in practice every day. It just anybody we've talked to, anybody with a bad back knows what he's going through. But he goes out there and tries to do the best he can. I think his offense, his inability to play offense to the level that he's capable of playing has really hurt us, but his defense has still allowed us to be a good defensive team when he's out there, even with the bad back. He's got great size, and he's athletic enough, and he's a highly intelligent defender that he can kind of still be a productive defender, even though he's not even close to 100%.
We'll talk about the conference tournament in the next segment, but the all-conference team was released. No big shock. Caleb is a 3-time first-team selection, but all-conference again on the first team. Nice recognition for Kyle to get honorable mention. And then Sean Riley named to the all-defensive team. I don't know, going into last year and as last season progressed, you'd have thought he'd be on the all-defensive team. Says a lot about his play this season.
Yeah, obviously Caleb had another really good year, well-deserved. Kyle, was nice to see him get recognition, being only a sophomore. And then Caleb and Sean on the defensive. I will say this, the only thing I'm upset about or disappointed, Caleb Hammock, should be defensive player of the year.
I would agree.
Nothing against the kid from Washburn. He does a great job, but it's, I don't know what those other coaches were looking at to not give it to Caleb. Maybe he's won too many awards over his career. I don't know. But Sean has really done a good job. Sean, again, kind of like RJ, people, like I always say, you think defense and everything is just effort and toughness and all that, and it is. Sean, does, all that athleticism. Sean is a very high IQ defender. The offense puts you in situations a lot during the game. You're playing 2 guys at once, and you got to have smart, intelligent people to figure out what I need to do, because you got less than that. You got basically 0.1 of a second to figure out what you need to do. And like I always say, not everybody can do that. That's not something we can coach. We can work on our concepts and what we're doing day after day after day, and guys can know where they're supposed to be. But when to be really good defensively like we've been, it's just instinct, and you have to be able to make reads instantly. And Sean is a very high IQ defender near the basket.
Well, it's been fun to watch him do that, and it was nice to see the recognition. I think what's neat about Caleb, and obviously his numbers, but he is the focal point for everybody every game, and you see it. There's somebody, the effort he does to put up the numbers he did this year, and really throughout his career, but the last 2 or 3 years has been remarkable, because he's got usually someone pretty good, usually bigger on him, and he still finds a way to make it work.
Yeah, he this year more so. I felt like he's had to do a lot over the years, but he had a year with Jared Vidstum.
Yeah.
Obviously that takes, even last year, he's had Elijah with him. This year we have just really struggled to have a second offensive player, so he has to do everything. He has to shoot the ball, he has to pass the ball to the other guys, he has to do majority of our creating, and then he has to go down on the other end and guard the best player. And he is a rarity. There's not too many guys that can do that, and that's just obviously there's toughness factor there, and he's an extremely tough kid, but that's just God-given. For his able to keep going like that, that's not normal. There's not very many people that can can keep going as long as he can. I mean, he's an Energizer Bunny, and it's pretty amazing and a special trait to have.
Well, I know Tiger fans have appreciated it, but hopefully they have throughout the course of his career, because it's going to be hard to find another one quite like him. Hey, look your best on Tiger game day with official Nike gear from BSN Sports in the Sideline Store. Go to Fort Hays State's athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop. There you'll find hundreds of products and designs, and every item is customizable. FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop and open up the Tiger Team Store. We'll take a time out. We'll preview the MIAA tournament. It's actually underway right now. Tigers play tomorrow afternoon at 2:15. We'll preview it when we return here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
Being a foster grandparent has definitely given me a purpose in life.
Just been so happy, just so much more energy than being at home alone doing nothing but watching TV. It's the best part of my life.
Best part of being a foster grandparent volunteer, watching the light up in the kids' eyes.
I'm living again, and the foster grandparent did that for me.
$19 to shoot. Here's Bakuna on the left elbow to Hammock. He fires up a three. He knocked it in. Caleb Hammock, he hits his first three, and he is now the first Tiger ever to score 2,000 points in a career. Ties the game up at 18 on a Caleb Hammock three.
Yeah, that was on Saturday up in Kearney. Caleb, the first 2,000-point scorer in Fort Hays State history as his phenomenal season continues. Tigers back at it tomorrow afternoon. They'll be at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City. The quarterfinal round of the MIAA tournament. Fort Hays State, the number 2 seed with the KPI standings. I will not ask you to explain the KPI standings because I think everybody at Tiger Club just ate all the math. Or was going to put everybody to sleep. It's a complicated, but you finish second in the standings. You get the number 2 seed. You don't have to play in the quarterfinal or in the opening round. But it's kind of interesting because you don't know who you play yet. So in a way, you get a high seed, but maybe a bit of a disadvantage in a sense that you're not going to find out till later this afternoon who you play, and not a lot of time to prepare for that ball game tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that first game sometimes is a challenge for two fronts. You're not like you're preparing multiple days for your opponent because you don't know who you're playing. And I think anytime you go into a tournament environment, I think a team that has already played a game at the first 10 minutes of your game is a little more comfortable. I feel like when we've been in this situation like last year, seems like we get off to a slow start the first 10 minutes. And I think part of that is that's our first time playing. Everybody's a little hyped up. You're a little tight. You're a lot of things because it's postseason. And the team you're playing went through that tightness and a little bit nervousness the day before. So I think, obviously, if you can get through that first game, it's a good advantage because then you get the next day off and the team you play. I think where it probably makes the biggest difference is in the championship game. You look at Pitt last year, they were fantastic against Central Oklahoma in the quarterfinals, and they were, again, unbelievable against us in the semis, and then they had nothing left on Sunday against Northwest, and Northwest got Friday off. So I think, if you can win that first game and it's an advantage, I don't know how much of an advantage it is, though, the first game.
Well, and regardless of who it is, it's going to be a challenge and kind of contrasting styles. Central Missouri, we obviously you've seen them twice and know what happened to the game there. Neither team could do much offense. And then Northeastern, who, I mean, talent-wise, man, they're as good as anybody. So different styles and who you might play, but regardless, it's going to be a big challenge because both those teams are pretty good. Yeah,
Northeast was, through the halfway in the season, was second in conference by themselves. They don't have very much depth. I mean, they basically have 5 players. And I think when you have that lack of depth, I think as the season progresses, you just run out of gas, travel, and all that. I do think now with getting to postseason, that maybe that lack of depth, we're adding more. There's one more timeout each half, so I don't know how much their lack of depth now factors. But their starting 5 is very talented. The Phipps kid's one of the better scorers in the league, and then Central Missouri, it's just the perfect matchup. Like I was telling people, if you go to the stats in the MIAA, the top 2, we're 1 defense, they're 2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 in every single category. And then you go to offense, unfortunately, it's 13-14, 13-14. So you have the two best defensive teams going against, at times, maybe the 2 offensive teams that may struggle. So I would assume if we play them again, it will be a rock fight. And first one to 40 wins. You know what I mean? We'll see.
We joked about that in Warrensburg. It turned out to be accurate, as crazy as that is. And way the region's shaking out, and then the loss to Kearney. I mean, this is going to be it. So if you want to extend your season, you got to find a way to win it. But I know it's one game at a time. You can't worry about that. Just got to take the opponent that's up that day and try to find a way to win. And your team has had some really big games and have played well on that stage. And hopefully the experience that all these guys have had will pay off this weekend.
Yeah, it's we say it every year, but I think it needs to be said every year. We're just really lucky. The MIAA, it's the best conference tournament experience Division II student athlete can have. So it's really good for our guys to be able to get there and be a part of this, and you'd like to extend it as long as you can. And once again, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've enjoyed most groups we've had over the years coaching and all that. And I will say this group the last 3 or 4 years has been as enjoyable as any group I've ever coached. So I would like it to go on as long as it can.
Sounds good. Well, safe trips to Kansas City. We'll see you there tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Trey.
There you go. Mark Johnson, coach of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Again, Fort Hays State will play at 2:15 or thereabouts. Our coverage at 1:45 tomorrow right here on the Tiger Sports Network and Tiger Radio Mix 103.3. And then the women will play in the late game at 8:15-ish and will be on the air around 7:50 with the Tigers. They're in the same boat. They'll find out tonight. They'll play the winner of the late game between Central Missouri and Emporia State in their quarterfinal tomorrow. Tiger Talk brought to you by BTI, your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family, in partnership with your family. We're going to talk some indoor track with Jason McCullough next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PWC.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayspost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Brooke into the front court, fires it to Ernie. She'll shoot a three. Bang! Fort Hays State with back-to-back threes. Megan Ernie scores 27-11. 16-point lead for Fort Hays State, their largest of the first quarter. Yeah, some of the action for the women game with Nebraska-Kearney on Wednesday. Again, the ladies will play at 8:15 tomorrow night for the quarterfinals of the MIAA tournament. They'll play tonight's late game winner between Central Missouri and Emporia State. Tiger Talk brought to you today by the HaysMed Orthopedic Institute, the most comprehensive orthopedic care in western Kansas. Let the experts at HaysMed Orthopedic Institute help you move freely. Learn more at haysmed.com/orthopedics. Joined now by track and field coach Jason McCullough. The Tiger men and women wrapping up the MIAA championships in Maryville over the weekend. Have 3 qualified for the national championships. And I don't know where you want to start. If you want to start with the 3 that qualified or go back and look at the MIAA. It was a good showing in Maryville, and you had 3 that emerged out of that to continue their indoor season here next week.
Yeah, we had several that made the podium. To make the podium, you have to be in the top 3 in the conference. And so we had quite a few second-place finishes. We didn't have a champion this year, but Jacob Clark, he jumped well. He actually made his first bar, and then he looked like he wasn't even going to place, and it took his 3rd attempt to make his next bar. And then he made the 3rd attempt on the next bar, and then he made it up to 518, which is 17 feet and something, and ended up getting second. So a good performance by him. Nolan Churchman was probably the surprise of the meet. In the 400, that is. Or not in the 400, in the long jump. The 400, he didn't really run that well. And then the next day, he did the long jump, and he set the school record. So he jumped 742, which is 24 feet 4 inches. And that qualified him for the national meet with that mark.
Well, that was good to see. And I know you had several others have I'm trying to remember who set the other school record. I know you had another school record on the ladies' side.
There was 2 other school records. Reba Mader broke the school record in the 400. She ran a 55.9, I believe. And then Emily Dierks broke her own school record in the 3,000 meters, and she placed 3rd in that event. And Emily also was the runner-up in the 5,000 and came close to the school record, but didn't break it on that one. But she hit 2 provisional marks.
the MIAA indoor meet, I mean, that's when you look at just, even on the national landscape, the MIAA does so well. It's almost a mini, in some regards, kind of a mini national meet. I mean, there are so many high-level competitors in that track and field meet every year. Yeah, there are. We say this about every single sport. The MIAA just seems like it's the best, but it definitely in track and field, you look at the index ratings, MIAA is by far better than any other conference. So we ended up finishing 7th, which was a little bit lower than I wanted to. There's a pretty much of a log jam between about 5th and 9th place there. But we were 7th, and we've been in the top 25 nationally for much of the year. So, we have a good team, but the MIAA is super strong, and you got a couple teams that are just above everybody else with Pittsburgh State and Northwest Missouri. Well, it was still a good showing, and out of that, you have 3 qualify. You mentioned Jacob Clark in the pole vault, Nolan Churchman in the long jump and heptathlon, and Annabeth Ballman in the pole vault, all qualifying for the NCAA meet. So great honors and great job by them. Yeah, and Annabeth, she when she was a freshman here, she was probably jumping 10 feet 6 inches, and wasn't very happy and wasn't doing very well. And then last year she broke the school record, and this year she improved her best at the Kearney meet, which was 2 weeks ago. She jumped 14 feet, that's amazing for a female. Our school record was 12.6 a couple of years ago, and now it's 14 feet. And she jumped that again. And she's I think 4th in the nation right now. She was the runner-up to the person who's the best vaulter in the nation. So she's had a real big improvement over the last few years, and we're looking for some good things with her. The one thing about the pole vault is, you could have a bad day. You could be jumping well and just clip a bar or hit it on your way down, and you're out. You only got 3 attempts. So hopefully those guys do well. Jacob in the men's pole vault and Annabeth in the women's. What's been the difference for Annabeth? Why she? The reason for the improvement? Oh, a couple of things. She's gotten a little stronger, a little bit faster, a little bit more confident, and then with all those things, you get on bigger poles. And so if you get on a bigger pole, one that's maybe a little bit longer and a little bit heavier, rated heavier, it can actually give you more push up there. So that's really helped her. That's what vaulters try to do. They try to get on bigger poles. That's the goal. But you can't just do that. You have to get faster. You have to get stronger. You have to plant higher. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it. So it's not just running, you put the pole in the ground and just let it catapult you up. There's a little more science. You could try that if you want to, and if you want to do that at our home meet, Gerard, we'll let you. Yeah, I'm sure you would, yeah. When I ran track in high school, we had a pole vaulter. I just let him. I watched him, and that was never going to happen. And it's in Indianapolis this year. Talk about the national meet. Obviously, you're going to get against the best of the best, but a great opportunity for them to run an Indy. Yeah, and it's 3 days. So Thursday, we have people competing every day. So Jacob competes on Thursday in the pole vault, and then Nolan is in 2 events. He's in the heptathlon, which is Thursday and Friday, and he's also in the long jump, which is during the heptathlon on Friday. Now, we considered not doing the long jump, but he can go and just run. You might maybe get 1 or 2 jumps in and get a good mark and maybe be an All-American or at least second-team All-American. So we figured we'd try that. We looked at the schedule. He's going to be in the first flight of the long jump, and he's probably not going to start right away in the pole vault because it's going to be right before the pole vault of the heptathlon. So we had to do a little figure in there, and hopefully it works out. It may backfire on us, but we thought he had a chance to be an All-American in both. So that's going to be Thursday and Friday, and then Annabeth is our last competitor. Actually, Annabeth is on Thursday, and Jacob's on Saturday. Yep, so Saturday. Jacob will compete. I think it's 1:30 or 2 o'clock or something like that. And if anybody's interested, you'll be able to find links because it's the national meet. NCAA will have all of that. Maybe let's put to bed the indoor season. Obviously, with nationals coming up, you had a pretty good year. You had some good marks from everybody. Just your overall thoughts on how the indoor season went for your squad. Yeah, I thought it went pretty well. We're kind of young. We lost a lot of big-time seniors last year. We got a couple of big-time seniors this year, but we have a pretty young team, and so you usually see a lot of development from that freshman to sophomore year. So we've seen some good things. We're going to have some good sprinters this year. The 4x1 and the 4x4 should be fantastic. Our men's 4x4, we got 3rd at the conference meet, and it was I believe we were 15th or 16th in the nation. And so we just missed going by about half a second. But you should see some good things from both of those relays for sure. We have a real good freshman, Drew Toller, who was he was 5th place in the HEP indoors.
at the conference meet, and he actually ran the fastest leg on a 4x4, 47 and change. So we have some real good young people, and then on the women's side, we have some pretty good distance runners with Emily, and we should have a couple people that were redshirting indoors that should be able to help us outdoors also.
Yeah, talk about that transition. Obviously, the events are different because you're indoors, and now you'll go outdoor, the more traditional track and field. What's that transition like for everybody, and just how do you go from the indoor season to the outdoor and getting them acclimated to that and ready to start competing in meets?
Yeah, it's just getting acclimated to the weather is the big thing.
Yeah, well, it cooled off and it makes sense.
Yeah, like I always say, I like coaching indoors because you can wear a polo, but outdoors you never know. You might wear a polo or you might have to wear a parka. It's one or the other. And so it's all about the weather when you get to outdoors, even with things like the sprints, because if it's too windy, those sprints don't count. You can't have more than a 4.0 meter per second wind, which is about 12 to 15 miles an hour steady, which, we hardly ever get that here in Hayes, but, sometimes we do. So you want it to be a little bit windy because that does help your performance. The same thing with the vault. You want a little bit of a tailwind. With the throws, you want a certain wind coming at a certain direction. So it all depends on the weather, the temperature. The sprinters do well when it's warmer. So outdoors is a lot about finding meets that are going to be beneficial to those events.
And I know last year you took some out to California for that. You got kind of doing that again, spreading them all around the country?
We're spreading them out a little bit. We're only going to take a few distance runners out there this year, but we'll take a lot of our other athletes to West Texas.
Okay.
A lot of good performances there in the sprints and in the throws and in the vaults. So we're trying to find meets that will benefit our athletes. And, of course, we have a lot of local ones, too. We have a home meet on April 24th. We'll go to Kearney a couple times. We go to Emporia. We go down to Wichita State. So
to be fun. Outdoors it's here, and hopefully the weather will cooperate and warm up for everybody, and it can have a good outdoor season. Jason, as always, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on a great indoor season, and best of luck to your three competing in the national meet here next week.
All right, thanks, Gerard.
There you go, Jason McCullough, the track and field coach at Fort Hays State. From polos to parkas, he's done it all. Tiger Talk today brought to you by the Kansas Drive to Zero Coalition, and they encourage you to join Tiger fans of the plan. Always have a designated driver or other sober ride to and from your destination. We'll take our final break. We'll talk some men's wrestling. Coach Eric Wentz will wrap it up the show with us next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
When it comes to screen printing and embroidery, your first choice should be Redeem Designs in Hayes. Turn it up with Redeem Designs, where it's not just about the products, it's about the partnership. At Redeem Designs, you're part of the process. They work closely with you to ensure your vision comes to life. So turn up your 2024-25 season with Redeem Designs.
Tigers have it, down by 7. They were just down 15 mere seconds ago. Here's Levy, has it up top, dribbles top of the circle, plays it on the wing to Weeder. She'll shoot a 3. Good! Telexa Weeder buries a 3. Timeout, Nebraska Kearney, and the 15-point deficit is down to 4 with 2:14 to go in the third.
Yeah, Tigers tried to come back Saturday up at the Health and Sports Center. They got to within 2, but couldn't get any closer. Ended up losing to the Lopers. Who knows? Maybe they'll play them again in the conference tournament. Again, that gets underway. In fact, is underway right now. Central Oklahoma men had a pretty big lead in their opening ball game against Emporia State. Fort Hays State plays tomorrow. 2:15 for the men, 8:15 for the women. Tiger Talk today brought to you by Golden Belt Bank. Your life has a story. Golden Belt Bank wants to get to know that story. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. Visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. Joined now by Eric Wentz. Fort Hays State with 3 qualified for the Division 2, or 2, excuse me, 3 placers, 2 qualified for the national championships after the regionals this past weekend in Gunnison, Colorado. And congratulations for those 2. Congratulations, got to Gunnison finally.
Finally got
after
to
the
Gunnison.
last trip got cut short because of the weather. Just your overview on how it all went in the regionals.
Well, we made it there safely.
That's good.
We did see a semi.
Step 1.
There was a semi laying on the side of the mountain that was there relatively recently. So it was always a little nerve-wracking, but we took 2 vans and made it there safely. And, overall, it was, again, one of those things you're competing against. There's 12 or 13 teams in the qualifier, and like 10 of those are ranked in the top 15, top 20 in the country. So, trying to get out of that region's really tough. We got a lot of number 1, number 2, number 3 nationally ranked guys at almost every weight class that we're trying to beat, because you got to finish top 3 in the region to qualify. And so we knew going in we were going to be a little behind just with our youth, and when I walked out of that seed meeting the night before, and when I see we draw into the 1 or the 2 seed, either first match of the day or we have a bye into the number 1 or number 2 guy, I was like, you got to beat him to go anyways. So we try to just be as positive as possible. And going into it, we knew a couple guys could make some runs, and we were right. Terry is obviously, he hasn't lost. His only loss is the same guy he lost to in the regional finals. That was good going in. And then Matt Rodriguez, we thought could make a run based on his performance the last couple of weeks, and that he's battle tested against the best guys in the country. And Drew Bell, depending on where he ended up in the bracket, he could make a run, and he did. So, we were hoping we could get a little bit more out of the A.B. Stokes, who's been on the tear this second semester, and our heavyweight we thought would end up a top 6 seed. He ended up getting unseeded, which was pretty disappointing. But you still got to perform on competition day. So overall, getting 2 guys out of that region is pretty good, because there were a lot of teams that are ranked ahead of us that had on paper were much better that only got 1 or got 0. So it's good for us to have 2 guys going this year.
We've talked about a young team. Were you happy with their progression? And you hope a year like this helps build for next year and the year after. Are you happy with how some of those younger guys came along and progressed throughout the season? Yeah,
we were having our end of season meetings right now with a lot of these guys, and to a man, they're coming in and saying, "Coach, I got so much better this year compared to coming out of high school." So the big conversation we're having now is it's funny hearing Mark talk about being tougher. You got to be tougher, got to fight harder, and that's where we're at now, because a lot of these guys have been so successful at the high school level with not necessarily having to be tough and just having to grind it out every day and be gritty in matches. And so now we're having those conversations with guys who are very, very skilled. Our wrestlers are very skilled, but sometimes we just get bullied by. Granted, there's 6th and 7th year seniors out there wrestling. Yeah. I got 2 guys in the lineup that are barely 18 years old. So we're talking about just being tougher going into next year and how we're going to get there, and building off of some success and learning from what we saw this year. So,
but obviously happy for Terry to get back to the Nationals. He's had such an illustrious career for you, and hopefully he can finish it strong and come away an All-American. That'd be great for both of those guys, but especially for him, because he's meant so much to this program.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be hard on Saturday. Win or lose, Friday. We start Friday. The goal for him, number 1, win the first match, and then go from there. Because last year I think he felt a lot of pressure, which didn't help. This year, since second semester started, we've talked about taking the pressure off. There's no pressure, and you just need to have fun with your final run at it. And so we had a workout yesterday, and Coach McKiernan, after the workout was like, he is in a totally different mindset from where he was a year ago. So just getting him on the podium is goal number 1. How high he gets, 197, they qualify. It kind of played out throughout the regionals. He's probably going to go in as the 8th seed. So because he's ranked 8th right now, and so you never know. He's gonna have a tough run at it, but if anybody can do it, that guy can. So.
And what about Matt? What are his chances? You think? How tough is that weight class?
Holy cow! Well, first of all, his performance on Saturday was unreal. We knew he could make a run. He drew into the number 2 seed, who was also ranked in the top 8. And he went on a run on the backside and pinned everybody after he lost a close match, and then beat a nationally ranked guy to qualify. And the way he's wrestling right now, he gets put in the right spot. His style is hard to wrestle, and his build is hard to compete with. And I think he can make a run. And he's on a high right now. So that's the key, is going to this thing healthy and feeling good.
Should be fun. Coach
Coach, as always, we appreciate you joining us. The best of luck at the national meet.
I appreciate it.
There you go, Eric Wentz, head men's wrestling coach at Fort Hays State. Again, you can follow all the wrestlers, the two, on the Fort Hays State athletic website. They'll have links to the NCAA feed. That's going to wrap up the program for today. Again, join us for Fort Hays State basketball for the MIAA tournament. The men tomorrow at 2:15, the women at 8:15. We'll have both on Tiger Radio Mix 103.3, and then obviously if they keep winning, they'll play at the same times on Saturday, and hopefully two teams in the championship Sunday. We'll talk to you next Wednesday right here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. So long, everyone.
Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus.